This is my ranking of games like Unpacking that I've played, based purely on my personal experience. Each one is placed from masterpiece down to trash, depending on how relaxing the gameplay feels, how meaningful the storytelling through objects is, and how satisfying the organization and puzzle flow is. Let's get straight into the list. Townscaper looked simple at first, but after building a few tiny islands and colorful houses, I started treating it more like a digital toy than a normal city builder. I liked how there were no timers, money systems, or objectives pushing me around every few minutes. I could just place buildings, expand the island, and watch little details appear naturally, like grassy courtyards, docks, and even lighthouses. Changing the sunlight and time of day also made every town feel different, and I spent more time taking screenshots than I expected. At the same time, I noticed there was not much challenge here, so after several sessions, I felt like I had already seen most of what the game offered. Even with that limitation, this still sails straight into my excellent tier without hesitation. Sticky business started feeling addictive the moment I began designing weird little stickers and packing customer orders by hand. I spent way too much time adjusting colors, lining things up neatly inside packages, and trying to squeeze extra stickers onto every sheet for better profit. I also liked reading the small customer stories because they gave the shop more personality than I expected. Some were funny, some were surprisingly sweet, and they made each order feel different. The packaging side reminded me of organizing games where everything has to look neat before moving on. I did wish there were more management features like marketing or better store organization, because finding older sticker designs became annoying later. This lands in my great tier. Venba started as a cooking game, but after a few chapters it became more about watching this family slowly change over the years. I liked how every recipe connected to a bigger moment in their lives, whether it was stress, celebration, or arguments around the kitchen table. The cooking puzzles were simple, yet figuring out handwritten recipes still made each dish satisfying to prepare. What stayed with me most was the immigrant family story, and how naturally it handled cultural differences between parents and children growing up in another country. The soundtrack also added a lot during the cooking scenes and made the experience feel warm and personal. I only wished some family moments were shown instead of skipped during the time jumps. This secured its spot in my excellent tier. Assemble with Care started as a simple repair game, but after fixing a few broken objects, I became more interested in the people connected to them. I liked taking apart cameras, cassette players, and other small devices before carefully putting everything back together piece by piece. The puzzles stayed relaxing without becoming mindless, and every repaired object slowly revealed more about the families living around the town. I also enjoyed the storybook presentation because it made every conversation feel warm and personal from beginning to end. The voice acting added a lot during quieter scenes, especially when characters talked about grief, distance, and memories tied to sentimental items. I only wished the experience lasted longer because I wanted more puzzles and character moments afterward. This heartfelt little game easily reaches my excellent tier. Terra Nil felt refreshing because instead of destroying nature like most strategy games, I was rebuilding dead environments into forests, rivers, and green landscapes again. I liked slowly cleaning polluted land, placing machines carefully, and watching animals return once the ecosystem became healthy. The soundtrack and environmental sounds also made everything feel calm, especially when I zoomed out and watched the world transform over time. At first, the recycling mechanics confused me because removing buildings without damaging my restored land needed more planning than expected. Still, after understanding the systems better, I started enjoying the balance between strategy and relaxation much more. I also appreciated how every map looked different enough to keep the gameplay interesting across multiple sessions. Even with a few frustrating mechanics, Terra Nil earns a spot in my excellent tier. A Little Golf Journey surprised me with how relaxing it felt despite being such a simple golf game. I liked slowly looking around each small course, planning my shots, and figuring out the cleanest path toward the hole. The controls were easy to understand, and the soft music made every stage feel calm without needing much action on screen. I also enjoyed the colorful environments because some areas looked surprisingly beautiful even with the minimal presentation style. After a while, though, the levels started blending together since the gameplay ideas did not change much between stages. Replaying courses for extra stars also became frustrating because some score requirements felt too strict compared to the layouts themselves. This relaxing golf experience still lands inside my good tier. Wilmot's warehouse turned organizing into something way more fun than I expected because I kept inventing strange little stories just to remember where items were placed. Every abstract object could mean something different, so my warehouse slowly became filled with random connections and weird categories that somehow made sense in my head. I liked how the game mixed memory challenges with organization instead of simply asking me to sort things neatly. Things became even more entertaining once the timed section started because I had to remember where every strange item ended up under pressure. The simple visuals also worked surprisingly well since they kept my focus completely on organizing and memorizing patterns. After several rounds, some repetition started creeping in, but the creativity behind the system kept me interested much longer than expected. This clever organizing game easily earns its place in my great tier. House Flipper hooked me almost immediately because turning dirty, broken houses into clean, organized spaces felt weirdly satisfying every single time. I liked starting with tiny cleaning jobs before slowly unlocking better tools, larger houses, and more decoration options. Washing stains away, repainting rooms, placing furniture, and knocking down walls made every renovation feel rewarding even when the mechanics stayed simple. I also enjoyed experimenting with layouts and trying to make each home look different before selling it for profit. After several houses, though, I started noticing the lack of variety in furniture and customization options because many rooms ended up looking similar. The selling system also felt too easy since buyers would purchase anything without challenge involved. This renovation simulator builds itself a place in my excellent tier. Garden Paws had almost everything I usually like in cozy simulation games because it mixed farming, crafting, exploration, shopkeeping, and animal care into one colorful world. I enjoyed running around collecting materials, unlocking new buildings, and slowly improving my farm while helping the town grow. There was always another task waiting, whether I was fishing, mining, farming crops, or searching for hidden areas across the islands. I also liked how many different animals and customization options the game included because it made the world feel playful and charming. After several hours, though, the game started feeling messy because too many systems were competing for my attention at once. Some bugs and awkward controls also became frustrating, especially during quests and combat sections inside dungeons. Despite its charm, this eventually settles into my mediocre tier. PowerWash Simulator sounded ridiculous to me at first because the entire game is basically about cleaning dirty buildings with a pressure washer. But after finishing a few jobs, I completely understood why so many people get addicted to it. Watching layers of dirt disappear piece by piece felt unbelievably satisfying, especially when giant messy locations slowly transformed into spotless spaces. I also liked how quiet the game stayed because hearing only the water spraying and those little completion sounds made everything feel strangely calming after long days. Upgrading equipment and tackling larger locations kept the simple gameplay loop interesting much longer than I expected. Some stages became frustrating whenever tiny hidden dirt spots refused to appear, but I still kept returning for another cleaning session anyway. This relaxing simulator sprays into my masterpiece tier. Dorfromantik became the kind of game I kept opening whenever I wanted something peaceful without turning my brain completely off. I loved slowly placing tiles together, connecting forests, rivers, villages, and train tracks while trying to build the cleanest layout possible. Every decision felt relaxing, but still satisfying because I was always planning ahead for future tasks and higher scores. The soft visuals and calm atmosphere also made long sessions disappear without me noticing the time passing at all. What surprised me most was how addictive the simple gameplay loop became once new unlocks and extra mechanics started appearing during later runs. Even after finishing a session, I kept thinking about how I could place tiles more efficiently next time. Few cozy games balance strategy and relaxation this well together. Without much difficulty, Dorfromantik settles into my masterpiece tier. A little to the left immediately clicked with me, because organizing everyday objects into neat little patterns felt strangely satisfying. I liked how the puzzles never explained themselves, and instead trusted me to figure things out through observation and experimentation. Sorting books, arranging cutlery, and lining up random household items made simple tasks feel surprisingly rewarding once everything finally fit together perfectly. The cat also added a lot of personality, because it constantly interrupted puzzles by knocking objects around and creating tiny moments of chaos. Some later puzzles became a little too abstract, and a few solutions were harder to understand than I expected, especially with awkward controls on a controller. Even with those occasional frustrations, I kept wanting to solve one puzzle before stopping. Without debate, this settles into my masterpiece tier. That's my personal ranking of games like Unpacking, from relaxing organization sims to cozy story-driven experiences. Thanks for watching.